Okay, good evening all. That works, I'll turn that down a bit. And welcome to the BATC Net. Too many receivers here. It's coming out of 3 or 4 places. Okay. Good to see quite a few on this evening. I see Richard is gone off to do an 80-metre contest. Good evening to David, G6GZH, watching. I have in the order so far G4KLB, who will be on first. Let's wind this power up a bit, just so everybody can see me. G4KLB first, followed by GW4KAZ. Be good to see a picture from you, Brian. Saw some test earlier. G0MJW after that, followed by Russ G4SAQ, James G0DQH, Nigel 2E0EHH, Roger G3IUZ, and Martin G4FKK. That's all I have at the moment. If anybody else wants to join, please put your name on the chat. Notices we're still looking for articles for your third. Mike is to say again. Still looking for articles for next CQTV, so please keep writing. Been prepping for the Midlands Microwave Roundtable. A few of us will be there. The one at up in Shropshire in a week and a half's time. And Noel's been working on a hardware issue, on an issue with the shop software, which for some reason prevented anybody in Europe buying hardware. We seem to have solved that one thanks to some help from Italy, so we're getting there, but shop software always needs a bit of TLC, which takes us away from doing TV, unfortunately. So straight round to Colin, and I'll put the list of order in the chat. G4KLB to take it, G8GKQ and the BATC Net.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave. I better just mute that sound. I was just listening to see what the difference was with the different volumes. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Oh dear, I'm wrestling with OBS here. Anyway, very good evening. Everything seems to be working. I don't know if my lip sync will be right or wrong today. It might be a tiny bit out, but we'll get comments on that afterwards. I'm running a slightly different or a newer version of the software, and I've set it up on a laptop, and I did have a small difference on there, whereas on this system it's been okay. I've been plagued with PC issues, and so I've had to hurriedly get things set up on a laptop. Although I am actually using the PC today, but it's just suddenly crashes for no reason and reboots as if the power's going down. So I'm not quite sure what's up with it yet. So possibly motherboard, but then it's worked for the last 4 days. It's just one of those niggling little things, really. But I've swapped the power supply out because it looked like it was just losing power, and that's what the error messages were implying. But it could be, it's obviously something else taking it down. Probably motherboard. I'm just hoping it's not my graphics card, because that would be an expensive thing to replace. But there we are. Most of the time it's been taken up doing little bits to GB3SQ, which we've just come off of, because we are now actually transmitting So that was fairly hastily put together. So I've still got a bit of tidying up to do on that. So that's my main focus at the moment. So other things have more or less shelled. I've fixed the little mini kits preamp. Well, I think I have. I've changed the two active components. Somebody transmitted into it, and it didn't it didn't like that. I've built a backup 77 one, which I did have the lids off before, but they're on now, and also built another Galley 84 driver because I'm using that as it's a pre-driver actually. I'm using that as a pre-driver on the repeater. So my main one I put in there, and so I've replaced that. So by building another one, I was fortunate enough to have some several of these kits from mini kits. You can buy from mini kits from the UK. It's no problem from Europe, but from UK you can buy if you spend enough. So you can still order stuff from mini kits, but it might be necessary to join forces with some like-minded individuals to get it up to the appropriate amount. It's something, if I remember, it's something like 300 Australian, something like that. I can't remember. And there's a figure it goes over, and then the website will work, and it's no problem. So that's good news because they do some useful bits and pieces. Other kit manufacturers are available. Okay then, I'd better not be too long on here, would I really? So very often I have to talk for about 2 hours. It's at least an hour usually, and often two. So I better not do that today, had I? Really? I haven't paused for breath for the previous hour actually. So there we go. Okay then. So yeah, it's all busy here, which is absolutely fine, really. So no problems at all. Okay then. So I think it's a station from Wales. I think next. So I'll pass it over to you. So this is G4KLB. You can't find the test card. There it is. Okay, yeah, 7.3s then for the time being. G4KLB.
Okay then. It looks as if I'm getting it. On audio with delay. Oh, there we are. I'm using VLC. So I hope things will be fine now. Yeah, very good. Good evening to you all. Name is Brian. QTH is up in North Wales, between the city of Bangor and the Royal Borough of Carnarvon, and about 100 metres south, and then to the south of me, well, from southeast to south, I have the Snowdonia mountain range, and Snowdon's only a few miles from my QTH. But I'm pleased to be able to get in after quite some time of trying. Even now, actually, something happened to my software, and that's why I was a little bit late coming on. I had to restart my Express software. Okay, so I'm running an Express here, and yeah, Express software, vMix at the moment, and that's playing up this evening as well. I'm running a the Express up to my up converter, whole built up converter, which is based on Giles's EC100 or whatever it was, up converter in Ratcom, good 12 months ago now. But I'm operational on SSB and on satellite. I have two dishes, one for receiver, one for transmit, and the up converter is located just by the 1.2 meter dish with a 5-turn helical, and that's located 150 feet or 50 meters from the shack here. So I'm using 70 centimeters on the Express to feed that into the up converter, and it has a Andrew amplifier up there as well. So I'm just running the Express as it's no amplification at this end. I just sent the 77s up to the up converter, and the amplifier and the up converter does the rest. And glad to say it's working pretty well on the ATV at the moment. And first good transmission, I hope, through Oscar 1 in the shack here, just on an extension on the property. And as a good shack should be, it's a heck of a mess. So I don't suppose I should show it on DATV. And operational locally on the GP3 Tango mic, which I'm glad to say that I was one of the builders of GB3TM together with John, GW3JGA, who some of you probably know. Anyway, I won't hold it any further. It's coming over to Mike, is it? G0MJW. So it's over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Brian. You cut yourself off there just at the end of the transmission, but thanks for passing it round to me. Good transmission from you. Nice signal. Good audio. All fine. So that's good. I was wondering actually, from where you said you're behind Mount Snowdon, so you're not seeing stuff to the south. But I wonder if you can hear see Winter Hill, because that's where I am when I'm up in that part of the world. So you might be within range. I can see Snowdon, so it sort of depends how far around you are with respect to where I can point my antenna. But you never know. Anyway, just thought I'd check that. And good signals from you, Colin. Mini kits, if you spend over whatever that limit is, I think it's about £300 or so that you have to pay the tax when it comes in, they'll still ship to you. They've got some interesting things actually. The Chiron or whatever it's called, 23 SEMs, and there's some other ones upwards. Pluto transverter, well, not transverters really, they're filter amplifiers. They look really interesting, so you could soon get up to the $300 mark with a few of those. I think they're $99 each. Anyway, just to move on to a few things to show. Not got any parish notices, but if we go over to the Polycom, or Polycam as it's now called. Sorry, Martin, beat you to it. You can see my bench is in a little bit of a mess, and if I go to the overhead view, you can see what I'm working on. It's the 5.5 inch Portsdown come Ryde. It's sort of going to be a Portsdown, but it's got the Ryde hat roof on it that is giving the I/O. So I'm just doing some rewiring, and I'm going to start wiring up the 25-way connector. I'm just doing the audio. I managed to get some nice 4-way connectors off eBay, which will hopefully do the audio and video out of the Pi. There's a little audio amplifier in there and a speaker, so that is all working okay. So I just need to start adding features to it to make sure that we get a thing that I can use to test the various exciting bits of test equipment that Dave has been developing, and they really are really good actually. So certainly something to look forward to. You've got a taster in CQTV, but there's more to come. So that would be really good. And yeah, Tim, I don't know what we're going to call it, or what I could call it. Collins is quite easy because we could just call it a Frankenstein. Because what he's done is he's taken my board but not put any of the parts on it apart from the fan and the power supply, and on top of that he's put his board for the GPIO, and actually it's not a bad idea really. I've designed a new board for mine, but of course it won't fit in the case that I've carefully filed all the edges to. So if I go back to the other camera, you can see that if I zoom in perhaps a little bit more, the holes are all cut in the right place. Of course, if I move or change anything, those would have to move and change. So I'll have to have the pain of wiring up a 25-way connector. But the idea is to eliminate the need to do that. So there we go. Right, that's more than enough for me. Let's pass it on to Russ. Russ, without too many null packets. I'm just going to see if I can monitor them actually. I'm not running Minitune. I'm not usually running Minitune these days. I'm running Winter Hill. And it's not telling me how many null packets there are. I expect it could be made to do that, but with VLC's transport stream settings, I'll have a look and see if I can see anything on your transmission. But I think it was pretty good last time I saw it, so it should be fine. So with that, round to you, G4SAQ, G0MJW, over.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, test. Right, I've got rid of my my audio in my ear. Very good evening to everyone. Nice to hear and see you all. Yeah, you've certainly been busy there, Mike, with your construction. Goodness me, I'm just looking at my nulls, and they've gone right down. I don't know what was going on there, Mike, but I've only got 5.9% now, 6%. So yeah, I mean that's fine. It's bizarre I was getting those high numbers. I haven't made any changes, so I really don't know what was going on there, but it looks absolutely fine now. And the pictures that I'm getting seem fine. So that remains a deep mystery. Okay, what have I got to tell you about? Well, a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, I told you about a disaster that I'd had with my Pluto, where I'd sent it back to the underworld. And I'm afraid I haven't been able to resurrect it. I thought that it might be the USB transceiver chip that I'd killed. And they were really cheap. I bought 2 for about £3.50, I think, from RS, and they were a bit of a it was a bit of a fiddle to change it because it's a 32-pin QFN device, so I had to use the hot air gun on it. And I've fitted them before, but I've never actually changed one, and I was surprised at how much I had to heat it up to get the thing to come away. But I put it back with leaded solder, and that seemed to be better, and it just floated into place quite nicely. But unfortunately it's still dead, so I may do a bit more playing around on it and see if I can resurrect it. Right, the thing I've been really busy with over the last well, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, I suppose, really, is I've been making an enclosure for my power supply and amplifier to go outside near the dish. And instead of trying to click through pictures on OBS, I put together a little video this evening because I thought I'd get into an awful mess if I started trying to do that live on the air. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to transition to that little presentation. I'll keep quiet while that's going on, and then I'll come back. Only takes a few minutes, I think. Right, here we go. Let's have a go. Here's the setup that I've been using for the last few weeks. Had everything mounted up on a platform. There's another view of the platform in use, and I had to put everything away, of course, after each session. So I started making a custom enclosure, and these are the panels that I cut out of an 8x4 sheet of plywood, and they're ready to be assembled at that stage. This is the first try on the wall after the enclosure had been built. And that's it from another angle. And this is a walk round of the final painted job with equipment mounted inside. And finally, this is the finished job with the front cover mounted on. So I'm hoping it's spider proof as well as being rain proof. And there we are, that's that. Okay, well, I'm back again now. I think that seemed to play through okay. First time I've tried doing anything like that. So yeah, bit of an experiment. Anyway, quite enough from me. So it's round to James G0DQH. I'll just see if I can put my test card up, and then I'll drop carrier.
Okay, just check if I've got audio. Yeah, good. Good evening, everyone. From Chandlersford. Couple of things. The saga of the 290, I've managed at long last to, I hope, fix it. I had another small fault with that, and that was intermittent audio on receive, and it was one of those little pins that soldered into the printed circuit board. Yaesu for some reason used that method of running cables around the 290. But anyway, it's fine now, and I took it out into the forest with me last Friday when Mo and I went to Acres Down, and had a good contact portable right into Bournemouth, running just 2.5 watts, and it was a good two-way contact. And then we finished the QSO because my wife was sat opposite on on some plastic sheeting because it was a little bit damp. But it was a lovely day, I have to admit. It really was a super day up there, nice and warm, not like it is outside at the moment. And then we had a couple of visitors, and I'll bring up the photo, and you can actually see. And they weren't going to have my crisps, that's for sure. So it's a fairly elevated position up at Acresdown, and if you look to the left, you can see on the skyline way down towards Bournemouth. It's a super spot up there, actually. And we go for a walk down into the forest, and quite often it's really nice. Anyway, some of the other pictures, I can scroll on. And they're very friendly. They were very, very friendly, these donkeys. And they walked all the way back down to the car with us. But they thought maybe we had some food, but we didn't. You're not allowed to feed them anyway. So there you are. This is walking down the track from the top of the hill down towards the car park. And this is at the car, and there were 7 of them. They were all milling around, but they were very good, I have to say, very good. So that's Acresdown, and I'm going to put this next slide on, and it's not all serious, by the way, where I work, as one of my colleagues made this up for me because he knew what I do for a hobby. So the headphones are actually caps off of the aerosol cans, so it's not all serious, as I say. Right, let's come back off that so I can find my other caption. There we go. Okay. Right, that's about it from me. I'll stay around and listen, and watch, but I may not come back on the second over. So, Russ, by the way, I went down that route like you've done with the TX outside, and in the end, I actually put the PA in the garage, and I used 450 kayaks, 14 meters of it from the garage out to the dish. If I can find the picture, I will show you. Isn't it amazing when you want to find? Here we go. So this is the 1.3 meter dish, and you can see the kayaks. Just how thick this stuff is, but it really does work well. I don't even have to go and look at the dish at all, or do anything to it anymore. The picture is you can actually see the original box with where the PA was put, and that's all gone now, of course. And the PA is in the garage. If I can find that, here we go. And that's the PA. Most of the power supply and all the rest of the bits are on the top shelf, where the ladder is. I'm just wondering whether I've got a close-up of the. Yeah, this was the Lorenz. It was actually out of a solar inverter. So there's 2 fans in the other end, blowing, and this one on the end sucking, and the rest of it, if I can find it, that's the driver PA, and again the driver. I was lucky enough to buy that box all milled out, and the two PCBs fitted in there perfectly, and the bias supply is in the black box on the left, and this is the PA that's in the garage. It's currently the temperature on it is 7.5 degrees C at the moment, and it's a warm 20.7 in the shack, which is the third bedroom upstairs. So there you go. It's out there. It works. I never have to go out. I run it all remotely by two fobs. One to put the power on, and the other to switch on the bias, and it all works very well. So go back to me, and I'll call it an evening and carry on watching, and hopefully see you all next week if I can find the test card or whatever. There, I'll give you that one tonight for a change, and hopefully see you all next week. One thing I forgot to mention, by the way, I've got a Mutec front end I'm putting in this 290, and that's arrived, so that's the next thing to do. Okay, see you next week, and my fob is now turning the PA.
Good evening, everybody. 2E0 EHH on frequency. Yeah, you're Colin. I know I can just remember you talking about your power supply on your computer, and it kept rebooting. Yeah, I had one like, and every so often, you couldn't put your finger on it, but I thought it was the power supply. And I changed the power supply, and it seemed to work. So you're probably on the best, that's down the road you want to go. James, yeah, your garden looks superb, and your dish. I suppose you just got to watch when you transmit if the wife's putting the washing out. She might fry the washing. My setup, I've had some. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, I can't remember, but anyway, I want to do it again. I've had some new additions. I used to come in Soakers, come back a bit. Wintry Hill and the Ryde. Yeah, but I've not touched the Ryde or the Nooker yet. I'm still sorting on the Wintry Hill, and that's the pictures that I've got so far. Oh, bloody hell! God. It's not quite set up right. I've got to help off Martin. G4FKK, he gladly had a Zoom meeting with me and helping me out, but it's not quite there yet. Yeah, I've had another edition. I managed to get over one of those cameras. I've still got to fit that in when I'm using OBS when we get it. So I'm getting things slowly getting together, but it takes time. I read stuff and I don't take it in, or I take it in and I forget. But not to worry, I'll still try. I used to say at school, we used to say my school reports. Nigel, must try harder, but the effort's always a star. I've always got the effort, but it just takes too long for me to get it. But anyway, and also why I waited a little bit, because I'm still not getting any audio from Winter Hill. It's, unless it's a TV outside of it, I don't know, but no audio. That's why I've was too long to answer. But anyway, I think that's it for me. You know, we'll go a bit further and keep trying, as long as I don't blow anything up. It's the main thing. Too expensive now to blow anything. Well, I don't want to anyway. But yeah, so one day I'll get it all sorted. But you know, hopefully, no, I won't say that, because I don't like to embarrass people or put them on the spot. But thanks to people who's helping me, and it's much appreciated. So I'll hand it over to G3IUZ. Sorry, I didn't catch your first name, but I presume you're next. So I'm going to put it back to standby and catch you on the second time round. This is G2E0EHH. Go back to standby, and G3IUZ, take the cap.
I wonder what happened to Roger. Going to reboot. Yes, we've all been there, Roger. I'll try you after I've droned on for a bit. We'll see if it gives you time to reboot, Roger. Anyway, good evening all. Nice to see you all. Cracking pictures and sound from everyone this evening. And yeah, Colin, the preamp business. Yeah, we've all well, excuse me, got a bit of a frog in the throat the last couple of days. We've all done that. And interesting about mini kits as well. We'll have to organise something then. Perhaps we should have a space on the forum somewhere to build up a wanted from mini kits list or something. Brian, GW4KAZ, Noswaitha to you. I won't inflict any of more of my schoolboy Welsh on you, but nice to see you on, and I like the way you're feeding the amplifier, etc. What else have we got? And okay, yeah, I did some work up in Bangor a few years back at the BBC studios up there. It's a very nice place. Mike, your portable 5-inch Ryde stroke Portsdown stroke Langstone looks very promising. I'm still running mine in the Ryde mode at the moment, the 5-inch screen. I'm convinced I've got some funny things happening with the touchosity of that 5-inch screen when I run it on Portsdown and or Langstone, but no one else seems to have mentioned that, so it's probably just me. You're okay with the null packets. Yeah, Russ, your outside container looks excellent. I was wondering how waterproof it is, but I guess there's no reason, unless you actually have floods there, that that shouldn't be fine. So it looks very nice indeed. James, I like the donkey visitors you had there. You should have, when you're walking down that track, you should have jumped on one of them and ridden it down. They're quite sturdy beasts, I seem to remember. The other thing, I'm glad you got the FT290 fixed. Yeah, they're nice little radios. I did have one with a Mutech in it. Oh, what's happened now? Why is someone always jamming me? Perhaps they're not. I seem to have come back now. Apologies if I disappeared. I don't know why that happened. Yeah, I like the test card as well. Very nice. Nigel, yeah, well, there's one more thing we could try on the Winter Hill for the audio side of it. So you can turn the volume up and down if you've got a scroll thing on your mouse, but I notice you've got one of those posh mice, but there's probably a way of simulating a mouse scroll, and if you just float the cursor over the picture you want to listen to and then scroll up or down, the volume should go up or down with it. What you can also do is right click on the picture you want to hear the audio from, and I wonder if I can demonstrate that. Well, I'll if you're interested, Nigel, I'll demonstrate on the next one, but you can right click and then you get some audio options, one of which is to increase or decrease the volume. So you might be able to get some volume out that way, but I think you said you're using a television, and maybe the HDMI audio is not actually getting to the TV. So anyway, I'll drop you a note, Nigel. Yeah, it's been a very hectic week this week with builders who suddenly wanted 500 quid more than we agreed. So that was a bit of a stress. I was going to try and find Richard on the on this 80-meter contest, but I had a look at the CW. If you look at the CW here, that's the CW on 80 this evening. It's just full of it. So I decided I probably wouldn't be able to find Richard and concentrate on the net at the same time. Right. Well, there was a couple of other things I was going to show you, but let's see if Roger is back. Let's see what it says on here. So I seem to go on holiday occasionally, Mike. Oh, well, maybe it's not just me then. So that's quite good. 2.4, blah, blah, blah. Justin, good evening to you. No, it's not an RT. Did it sound like RTTY? Hang on. That's just it's a CW contest with a 3 kilohertz filter on it, Mike. G5Z. It's obviously got contest call signs as well. Right, let's see if Roger's there. G3IUZ. Oh, I'll tell you what, Roger, if you are there, just quickly before I do that, I'll show you, since you were showing us ancient pictures of the BBC, here's not quite so ancient, I have to say, but that's yours truly in the workshop at BBC Radio London. So I've got even more embarrassing pictures than that as well, which I probably won't ever show anyone. So with that, let's try Roger again. G3IUZ, G4 Fox Kilo, Kilo standing by. Kilo standing by.
Right, well, thank you very much indeed, Nigel. Sorry for that. I had to reboot. I had to reboot the ports down. I have no idea why. I checked it earlier on; it was fine, and nothing was indicated that there was a problem till I threw the big switch on the for the PA power supply, press to talk, and nothing appeared. So, okay, lovely. Well, thanks for all the contributions tonight. I must say, Mike, G0MJW, your pictures are just so outstandingly crisp. They are superb. I don't know quite how you achieve that. Perhaps you might care to divulge. How you are achieving that's such superb definition from all your cameras, but it was particularly apparent, I felt, when you were showing us the bench, the two cameras on the bench, particularly the overhead one. Extraordinarily good. Right. Nothing particularly to report. Thanks, Nigel, for the shot from the archive. There's one thing I wondered whether I might share if there was sufficient interest. So I'll give you a chance to say no, I'm not on your Nelly. But some years ago, when they first came into general circulation, I indulged in some drone activity, and I got a Phantom 2, which had just come out, and got very, very frustrated with the very poor way that it was handled on the camera. And so I set about building a homebrew gimbal, which is the gubbins here. Originally, the camera was just mounted straight underneath here, and you just could sort of wind it up and down a bit, but that was about all. And of course, no compensation as the thing moved around in the breeze. So videos and that were really pretty unsatisfactory. So I built this gimbal, which of course is all completely self-aligning. And I realized when I tried to find these photographs that I never took one when I put the third axis. So it was a 3-axis, so you could control all axes, and then of course it was self-stabilizing. And I've got a short video, if you'd like to see it, but I'll only do it on the next over if you want to, which was on the Lincoln Barnstable narrow gauge railway in North Devon. No one has ever shot that from a drone, so there were no overhead shots. So when I was holidaying down there in 2014, I shot some video with the drone. And I can bore you for 4 minutes with a bit of that if you want to see it. But do say if not, if steam trains aren't steam trains and drone shots aren't your bag, then I won't bother. So that'll be next time. I'll let the PA cool down a bit. Okay, so it goes to Dave, doesn't it? GKQ. It comes to you. We'll see the video next time then. You're all very kind. So let's go back to that. Wait for that to come up.
Oh, good. Finally got some video there. I think it was just the time my ride took to switch across, but it seemed a long time. I was beginning to get worried. Okay, from G8GKQ. Yes, Roger, we'd like to see the video. That'll be really good. Colin, good work on SQ. Really pleased that that's coming along. Brian, if you're still with us, the Express is going well there. And glad to hear TM is still going on the air. The only comment I'd have on your transmission is the audio was slightly low, which is a complaint I used to have till I built an audio amplifier, and now I think it's probably too high. Mike, yeah, the name of that Portsdown Ryde Langston clutch, we'd have to call it Solent, except we can't because there used to be one, but I think that's about the closest you can get. I know you got a 3.5mm power jack on, a little barrel power jack on it. I'm considering changing your mind to power poles because I've had a couple of instances portable where the little barrel, 5.5mm with a 2.1 centre barrel, has gone intermittent on me. Russ, yeah, I know you've been worried about your null packets recently. I shouldn't worry. Anything less than 25% is good. Certainly ports down runs around that. But really good pictures, and well done on at least trying with the Pluto. That's a very good effort, and the enclosure is lovely. James, good to hear your 290 is going well. Yes, I've been looking at getting another 790. There's been a couple of them on eBay because I use them as the primary driver for all my transverters, but haven't succeeded in getting one at a price I agree with yet. Nigel, Winterhill Audio, I suppose the question is, are you getting any audio out of it at all, or is it just occasionally you get problems? It's probably something to do with the HDMI chatting to the Winterhill. The 5-inch screen, I've asked for one for Christmas. And I'll then have a look at the reliability of it and perhaps work out why occasionally it goes to sleep. But it does appeal to me. Roger, the drone and the 3-axis gimbal, what a marvellous bit of engineering, especially with self-stabilisation. I really look forward to seeing that. Right, what have I done this week? Well, a bit more software, which will get announced in the next CQTV, but I'll just give you a preview. So this display here is using a very old HP 141 spectrum analyzer, sort of 1960s probably technology, but using the X and Y outputs and then plotting it on a ports down so you can screen capture it or normalize it or whatever, and that will be in the details of that in the next CQTV. So a bit more work on my favourite bit of graph paper. I'll also be demoing all that at the round table in Shropshire. And the other bit, I try and do software and hardware. So this is the 3.4 gigs transverter that many of you have seen before. The new bit is just there. It's a bit of chopped up radio spares variable, and on there is a PIC, and that is the sequencing for transmit receive switching, which will work with the coax relay that's down there at the bottom, and the PA control to make sure everything happens in the right order and doesn't blow things up. So there's been a bit of hardware there, but of course even that bit of hardware involved programming, writing the code for the PIC and programming it, so there's more software there. Right, I think without further ado, I will put it back round to Colin, G4KLB and the group GHGKQ.
Well, I don't know what happened there, but didn't see anything from Colin or Brian, so I'd not even set up. So let me just check myself. See anything from Colin or Brian? So yep, that's working. So yeah, maybe Brian or Colin will come on the next over afterwards. Yeah, lots of interesting things there. Some amazing construction work. I wish I could do that. And I was a bit taken aback by Jim's fence, actually. Looking at mine, which sort of looks like it needs painting. But I always try and persuade myself it really looks better with the rustic look. But then you go and show pictures like that, and maybe it doesn't. But yeah, very neat. And a good power amplifier as well. And lots of other interesting things. Looking forward to seeing these drone pictures from Roger as well. And I was trying to find out what those flowers were, because I know you told us, Martin, but I forgot to remember, so to speak. Right. So you asked Roger how I got crisp video, and well, the fact is I cheat. So £1,500 for a fence. Cool. It's more like what a fence. Yes. I cheat in terms of getting the higher resolution. So I'm sending 180p, 1080p video, but it doesn't really fit into 333 kilosymbols. So I'm using 3/4, which is probably a little bit higher than it should be, but B, I'm using only 15 frames per second rather than 25. And as long as I don't move too much or show Formula 1 motor racing or something like that, then it's fine. I've got a Land Rover video where you might see things change a bit, but there you are. And the other thing is this particular picture here. This is coming from a Polycom, and this is what I've been experimenting with in the past few weeks. First, it started out at CAT, where I got a Sony video conferencing system, but that was only PAL, and PAL is a bit old hat these days. So if I zoom out a bit and I, oops, wrong direction, scroll the camera around in the other direction. There we go. You can see the Polycom, which is a video conferencing system, and the camera that you can see there, if I move it up you can see the other camera. These cameras are quite cheap on eBay. Something like, I don't know, 15 quid, something like that, and they give out component video, so they're useful for that. But I couldn't work out the protocol, so I built a device, a serial device, to understand the protocol. But to get the protocol I needed to have a base unit, so I purchased a base unit, and then I discovered the base unit was so amazingly good that I stuck with that so far. And it's good because it gives me presets and things. So that's preset 1. Preset 2 will hopefully come and say hello to me, more or less. And then I can use that to move around the other bit of the shack. And I can spin it round and do various things. This is where the picture starts to break up, and you can see the other camera there, and also the screen showing the picture. And the boxes of roses are not to do with a sweet fetish. They're actually about the right size to hold coiled up pieces of microwave cable, so that's what's in those boxes. And there's an idea of the camera, so that if you need one you can look at it. And it's really useful because you can sort of scan around the shack and you can show people things and look at what have you. And a particularly useful feature I find is this. Oops, let's try and get it right. Sorry about the reflection there. Oh dear. That is a GPS clock, and if I look at that and I zoom in on it, and there's a light shining on it at the moment, which is not normally there, it gives me an idea of the latency, which is good, and it's quite large latency. It's about 6 or 7 seconds, and that's the other way you get good pictures. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully that gives you some idea. And the coding of the scripts are all the ones that were in CQTV a while back. So there we go. Right, sorry if that was uninteresting, but that's basically what I'm doing at the moment. Now, Dave put up a new order, and I think it's still Russ, is it? Yeah. So G4 SAQ, it's over to you. So G4SAQ, G0MJW.
Okay, G0MJW and the net, G4SAQ returning. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, Mike. I kept having lockups of your video. I could hear the audio perfectly, but it kept locking up. I'm using Minitune, I should say, and once or twice on your previous over, I had the same problem. I had to press the reset button when you changed camera. So it clearly, I see, Minitune doesn't like my video. Oh, right, okay. Well, yeah, that's strange, isn't it? I must say I like this new Minitune because, as I expect you know, it's got VLC built in, and before I was having to use VLC separately, which was rather irritating. I see right, G0DQH James, you're there. So are you? I'll put it over to you next then, James. I thought you were going to stand one out, but that's fine. I'm rambling because I'm trying to read the at the same time. Yeah, okay. So I do like this this new Minitune with the built-in VLC. It's very convenient, and certainly I don't have the problem with the audio glitches, which I reported on previous week's nets. That's a thing of the past now, which is great. And I'm looking at my null packets, and I'm running at 6.1%. So yeah, that really was bizarre. I don't know what on earth had gone wrong there. As I say, I hadn't made any changes at all, but I'll just keep my fingers crossed and hope it stays okay. Right, round to you, James. By the way, Dave, thanks once again for running the net. Oh, I did mean to say, Dave, when you showed us that 3.4 gig transverter with the PIC in it, it seemed like an enormous PIC. I wonder if it just happened to be a convenient one that you'd had lying around in the drawer for a few years. Looked like one of those big old 40-pin things. I remember buying one of those about 25 years ago. Anyway, maybe I was looking at the wrong component. Right, let me try and get this organised. Put the test card up, and it's round to James from G4SAQ.
Okay. Turn the volume down so I don't hear myself coming back. Yeah, okay, Ross. I'm going to show you a video actually, and this is how I started with the PA outside. Oh, where is it? There. Okay, here we go. I don't know why it started with a lock up like this, but it was alright the other day. So we're into conservation as well, as you can see by all the solar panels, and I've got two hot water panels on the top of the roof, just out of sight to the right, and so originally I had the PA outside and same dish, but I had mains running down to the PA all the time, and I have to say I didn't much like that, and so you can see where the PA was originally in that rather nice plastic box, and it's now in the garage where you see the door there, and the cable of course runs down to the dish. So if I can go back to this picture, I don't know why it does this. That when it settles down. So that's how it is at the moment with the 450 Heliax running into the dish. Now originally I had 2 cables which I dug in a plastic pipe all the way from the house all the way down across the lawn to where the dish is now, because I had a satellite dish down the bottom of the garden which fed both the bedroom and the lounge. So I utilised one of the cables to receive, and of course the Heliax for TX. And if I can find a close-up of the dish. Oh, here we are. Wonderful. First time. Look at that. And the plastic cover over the LNB is actually from In Excess, and it's a food container with the lid fixed, and the body unclips when you want access to the LNB, and it all works splendidly. So that's basically it. And what I'm going to do, hopefully, and come back up to the camera, is when I press that button, that might just help. I don't know why it's doing this tonight, but maybe it'll settle down in a minute. This is the fob that I use to switch the power on and off in the garage from the shack. And the other fob, which is this one, when it settles down and allows me, of course, is this switches on the bias supply. And when the batteries run down in the fob, I have to hold the thing up in the air to get enough range on this to get down to the garage. So hopefully next week I'll have a small antenna fixed to the box in the garage. It'll be similar to this. This is a 2.4 gig antenna, but I've just bought one for 868 megs, I think it is. So hopefully I won't have to stretch my arm to switch the bias off each time. So as I said, I started off with the PA down in the bottom of the garden, and it really did suffer from overheating in the summer, even though there were several fans running all the time. And so it is a lot easier now than it was. And really, apart from scrubbing the dish, because all the pigeons at the moment are enjoying all the fruit off the tree, and they're messing all over the dish, I have to clean it up every week. Other than that, it works pretty much okay. So I'm just trying to find the rest of it. I'm trying to find a close-up of the dish with the cover open, so you can actually. There we are. So if I want access to the LNB, it's just as simple as that. There you go. I won't bore you anymore tonight. And as I say, when I fit the small antenna in the garage, I may actually take a video or a couple of photographs of that as well. It's a 4-output LNB, and I'm only using one, so I've actually put 50 ohm resistors on each of the other outputs. So there you go. I'll see you all next week, hopefully, and bring up my call sign again, if I can find it. Get rid of some of all this off the screen, because I've got to button down and find it all. I'll put that one up. Okay. And I'll see you all next week, hopefully. G0DQH in Chandler's Ford. By the way, Ross, if you want to come and have a look at the setup up here, I'm quite happy for you to do that. You're not very far from me anyway in Botley, are you? Just the other side of Hedge End. Okie dokie. G0DQH. No.
Okay then, hopefully we've got everything going again now. Bit of a bit of a nightmare that was, I tell you. That I was plunged into darkness, and no amount of UPSing would would stop that, I'm afraid. But yeah, anyway, we're back on, just about. Okay then. Yes, I was going to show my Frankenstein one here. Probably the other camera might be better to show that. So it's not ideally situated there, but never mind. Okay, so we'll go for shaky cam. So there he is. That's the little 5-inch screen compared to a real port stand, which is just behind. Obviously, with the scale, you can see that's a real one, and that's this one. And this, as Mike says, I've fitted his Ryde board and the port stand 4 board as well. I'll probably maybe end up putting power in there through this fuse and not have to use this. I had a bit of trouble with that. You have to have exactly the right size. I had some that looked like they were 2.1 in center, but obviously they weren't, because this one works all right. So now we've got the fan there on the. Obviously needed the fan for the Raspberry Pi, and I did a little experiment with this fan to see how close I could get before it started to restrict the airflow, and it was about 40 mil before I could detect. So I've sort of put I've got 25 mil spacers on that one and 20 on that one. So it's turned out to be a bit of a monster, as I called it, but it works fine actually. It works really well actually. So this is as you can see, this is a port stand 4. So I haven't fitted all the other bits. In any case, if it was a Ryde, I've got the pull-ups on our other front panel in any case. But so there it is. This is one of Mike's a prototype. He kindly sent me the file, and I had 5 of these little boards made as an experiment. I think there's some upgrades after that, but anyway, it works absolutely fine, and that keeps it very cool indeed actually. We can have a little look around it, so I thought I've done some more. So here we are. What I've done there is I've used a couple of headers on top of each other actually, so it may not be ideal, but it was a bit of an experiment to see. I'm using this actually as a part of the MacGuffin test, which is the sequencer. It's convenient to have the small one on the desk because I haven't got much I haven't got much room on the desk, so I can have the small one and I can send all the things from there and then just plug it into to these ones here. So it's a bit of a it's a bit of a Frankenstein really, because it's neither one nor another. However, it is actually quite effective. I've still got the heatsink on the Raspberry Pi that I had on before. I did a little experiment with the fan off, and with the fan on, it certainly makes a difference. With it in free, like this, of course, it works absolutely fine without the fan. But when it's in a box, that will be an entirely different story. So I got this little screen came from the Pi Hut. That's this one did. It's not quite the same. It's not quite the same screen as Mike's, although I suspect probably the display is the same thing, but it's a slightly different one. But anyway, there it is. That's the little. It actually works quite well to hold it up actually. So that's pretty good. Okay then. Yeah, I am a bit shaky today actually. looking at those pictures. So there we are. Yes. And I've been out, as you can see. I've been out and. This is my drone, which is the same model, with the existing bits on there. There's a little cover for that, that usually stays on there at the minute. Not when it's flying, but there we are. Anyway, so there are no blades on it because they're off for balancing. So there it is. I bet it won't stay there now. Probably end up on the floor. There we are. Okay then, there we go. Right, that's probably more than enough for me. So I'm. Oh dear, it's been chaos. I tell you, it's just. I'm not sure what caused that. What caused the power to stop like that? But it just, I was plunged into complete darkness. But anyway, everything seems to have come up all right, so that's good. SQ seems to have recovered all right, so that's the main thing. Dear oh dear. Right, I think it's over to Nigel now. So 7 threes and catch you all next time. Could be faulty PC PSU. It's a brand new PSU. That's oh dear, what a nightmare. It wasn't just the computer that went off this time, it was the entire house. So so maybe some condensation in the shed. I have a similar arrangement that the PA and everything is in the shed, which and the dish is on top of the shed. I also use separate dish for transmit and receive, but the transmitter one is in the shed, so it's very convenient. It's a very short cable run to the dish, which is just on top of the shed. Right, okay then, over to Nigel. 7.3 then, G4KLB. If we could find quickly the test card, there we go.
Yeah, thanks Mike to his Colin. That's all understood. Colin, yeah. At first I thought it was just your power, your PC, but the whole house went out. Yeah, that's when you must have a torch handy or candles so you can find your way to the fuse box. But anyway, Colin, turn that down because it's latency. Martin, yeah. I can put the mouse over the windhill, over the speakers, and it's at a right click, and it can adjust. It's on 100%. And what I think someone else said is something about have you been getting audio from the Windhill or no, I haven't. So whether it's a TV or something not quite right. But anyway, there's a lot on, and I'm going to shut up now. And I wish you all a safe journey with it, and catch you next week. God bless, and hand it over to Roger G3IUZ, and look at the video. 20 EH8 going clear, back on standby. Thank you, bye bye.
Right, well, thank you very much, everybody, particularly Nigel, thank you. And Mike, thanks for the explanation about your arrangements and the cameras, the polycams and so forth. Most interesting, and certainly outstanding quality, as I said. So thank you for that. And okay, Colin. Yeah, well, when I made my gimbal, you couldn't get them. Well, you could at a huge price. So it was a question of roll your own or doing without. That particular drone has, having satisfied myself that it could be done, I lost interest, and it's now somewhere up north of the border, being used to train falcons. I gather from the guy who bought it from me. So there we are. Right. First of all, when you see that, I'll show you the video from the Linton and Barnstable. It was a few years ago, 2014, when I shot it. Since then, of course, they've got their new Loco Lin running, and the lid has gone. James has now moved on to pastures new, as narrow gauge locomotives seem to move around quite a lot. But the last one you see, that's the World War One loco from the trenches. That's still very much a resident. So here's the video, and forgive the awful soundtrack. I hastily edited this off something that I made a long time ago for YouTube, so forgive me. Well, there you are. I hope that wasn't too uh, too awful with that soundtrack. It wasn't me playing. It's when I pinched off some freebie soundtracks from somewhere. So there we are. You might just have noticed I was very pleased with the stabilization. That's 1,000 feet above sea level up at Buddy Bay. The wind was going, and you may have just noticed the guards on the drone coming into view, but the picture remained pretty stable, so I was very pleased with that. Anyway, there we are. So good night to everybody. Thank you very much for your patience as always, and all the good information, and hopefully meet again next week. So I pass it now. I think it goes to Martin, G4FKK.
Yeah, very good, Roger. G3IUZ, G4FKK. Well, you preempted me there, Roger. I was my wife just popped into the chat, and I said, "Oh, look, this is Roger's homemade gimbal working on the drone." And I said, "I'm going to assume that that's him playing all the guitars as well, since you're so good at everything there, Roger." Yeah, I enjoyed the tune, but very nice, and the video, excellent, superb, very relaxing. I could watch that sort of thing all day. I know a lot of people on here aren't keen on steam engines and things, but just catch me and Noel one day, Roger. We'll sit and watch that. Right. Oh, you're getting a 5-inch screen for Christmas, Dave. That's excellent. And yes, I thought it was quite a large pick, but I don't think it's a 40-pin one. I wonder what you use to program it these days. I still use pick chips, but I like to program them in assembler rather than any sort of proper compiler. And I've noticed the latest version of MP Lab X doesn't do ASM anymore, so that's very dreary. I've had to put an older version back in, otherwise I'd be stuck really. Colin, glad you got back after your power cut. And Mike, I've made a note of the Polycom HDX 8000. I think you said last week there's a 7000 as well. Real programmers use ASM. Well, thank you very much. I used to use that till they stopped doing it. C++, you know. This is quite. I'm going to bask in that for a while, Mike, because Tim's normally giving me a hard time for not liking Linux. So there you go. Right, what else was there? Yeah, Mike's video was okay here. I'm watching on my 5-inch Ryde receiver, and it was perfectly okay on that. I'm also if I use the unsteady cam, so there's my 5-inch screen. Not quite as Frankenstein as yours, Colin, but getting on that way. And with the IR and the LED stuck on one of the connectors. You probably don't get that's the ports down behind it with the 7-inch screen. I suppose you can get a feel of how much smaller it looks. Do you know what? I've completely forgotten what I was going to actually show you now. That's annoying, isn't it? Never mind. I'll put it back there. That's the trouble with getting old business, isn't it? James, that oh yeah, no, the video. Sorry, yes, I'm looking at Mike's video on the 5-inch Ryde, and that was perfect. I'm also watching it on Winter Hill on this screen over here. So that sorry, it really is quite an unsteady cam, isn't it? And then I've got something else on this screen. I can't remember what now. and it was perfect on all those. I have noticed in the past, Mike, sometimes your video defeats some of my receivers, but today they won. Yeah, those coaxial sort of power connector things, they're a bit of a nuisance. What I find is no matter how carefully I try, I normally manage to short the inner to the chassis of metal cased devices using those power connectors, so I tend to lock them away inside if I have to keep them, and use a Johnson power pole. Okay, Nigel, by the way, about the audio being on 100%, yeah, there must be something else going on there. What we'll do when I'm in touch, it'll either be tomorrow or maybe over the weekend. Anyway, I'll drop you an email. We'll have to find out if we can hear anything else from the Winter Hill. It's got a full fat version of the Pi operating system on it, so we could probably try firing some audio from another program and see if you can hear that on your HDMI monitor stroke TV. But okay, that it's on 100%. Right, I think that's probably enough from me, so I'll put it round to sorry, did I call it a Johnson power pole? I told you, this getting old is no fun at all, Mike. It's not even late, is it? Dear oh dear. Right, round to you, Dave. Oh, I was just going to quickly show you the, see if it's still there, if the VNC has carried on working. It would appear the CW contest is over. I don't know what time it was supposed to finish, but it's there's still some CW there, but it doesn't sound like contest traffic to me. So I'll have to work Richard on CW on 80 another day. Right, round to you, Dave, and thanks for running things this evening. G8GKQ to take it with the group. This is G4FKK signing off, saying good night, everyone, and look forward to seeing you all next week or on Tuesday on the HV Net. Cheerio.
G4FKK and the net, G8GKQ. Okay, I program my picks using MPLab X, the latest software. You can actually, when you're setting up a project, it gives you a choice of what compiler to use. You can use the C compiler or you can use MPASM. So I use MPASM and I program all my picks in assembler, especially for doing stuff like sequencers. In fact, I think the only picks I programmed in C is some ADF 4351s, but even that I prefer. Oh right, okay. Thanks, Martin. I won't upgrade then. Yes, it's almost a religious debate, isn't it? Anyway, I use ASM is the answer, and Russ, it was a 28-pin pick. Let's pull it up. It does look big in there, but it's actually only a 28-pin. It doesn't need to be a 28-pin. It's just I have standardised on the 16F883. So it's just so easy to put one in and copy and paste code from something else, and it just works. And in fact, touch wood, this was the first time ever I've written a whole pick program. Programmed it once and it worked, did what I wanted, so disconnected the programmer, and now I just need to wire it in. Colin, I think your 5-inch is a different one. I wonder if yours seems to be more reliable than the DF Robot one. Video problems, Russ. Hardware decoder is probably not the way to go. The software decoder seems to be more reliable. And the only other thing I have to say before I wind up the net is that Frank has just published on the forum that the deadline for the next CQTV is December the 12th, so contributions please. Thanks for the excellent videos tonight and all the technical content, and look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. GHGKQ closing the net, leaving the frequency clear. Good night all.
Right, this is a very short video, Dave, just to show you what they look like, but I think this is the sort of thing you want. A 3D printed power pole mount for a panel, or you could get one like this. Easy to make. You can actually see, because it's transparent, the inner structure on that one. I was using hexagonal filler. Anyway, that was all.
Yes, while we're having a power pole fest, those are the three power poles on the back of my 3.4 gig transverter, and I just make a metal hole and then put a couple of metal clamps around them, as I don't have a 3D printer, so that's what I use, but they do work very well. 73 saw GHG